It's fantastic to see so many of you here. Thank you very much for coming. For us, it's a really, really important session because the words change the fabric of our society from the inside out are really a big vision. And so what we wanted to do is to take you through some experiences that we've had in adapting our approach, both with families and then into schools. I'm Alan Wilson, and I'm the founder and creator of Every Family Matters, a registered charity, and also the key for the CEO rather for Develop Your Child, which is a social enterprise. So that's the sort of commercial side. So all the money we make there, when we start making money, goes into the charity to develop the work. Otherwise, we get funding from different bodies to run particular programs. I've got 3 children. 33 and 31, and I think because I screwed them up, this is what I'm doing. I've got another younger daughter of 19, and I'm doing a bit better than I did before, but it's all work in progress, aren't we? So who knows, but I'm not making so many mistakes. I found the power of life coaching in 2002, and what I loved about it is it started building self-esteem and confidence. And when it's delivered properly, as you all know, it creates personal empowerment. I also identified my passion, which was to holistically develop children globally. In 2002, I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do here? But obviously the internet started to help, and now where we are is a much more stable platform to be able to actually achieve that vision with the help of these 2 good people. I'm not really a presenter, and I feel really embarrassed because I've seen all you guys doing a presentation so professionally. I'm just a family coach, really, and love what I do. As you know, as coaches, it's all about the relationship. So what we've developed is an 8-week program of 2 hours to work with parents through a quite structured program. I'll tell you more about that. So it's really more about how parents see themselves. And therefore, and because children are so much more sensitive than adults, they pick up on all the energy, intuition, gut feeling, all that stuff, all that sensitive stuff that's been the core, I think, of this really exciting conference this weekend. And so really, our approach is to help the parents realise that when they change their emotional state, the children calm down. Because we all know, as parents, when we're happy, the children are happy. And when we're not, it's the other way around. And that's something they all know, but they don't necessarily do much about it. So we're not coaching individual parents, we're coaching groups of parents. What we'd like to do is ask you to raise any questions as we go. And what we're telling you is our experiences. We're not saying it's right, because as with all these techniques that we've learned this weekend, it's how it fits for you and how it fits for your clients. So with my passion for holistically developing children, I started working with the children. This is a pictorial of how we see it working, so empowering the parent, inspiring the children, creating dynamic families, cohesive communities, and spilling out to vibrant societies. That's the plan. So we feel education particularly, but everything, the whole system's breaking down. So it's more important to empower our young people. As Gerard said, the future is in the young people. How on earth are they going to manage if they're not empowered? So the earlier we can empower them, the better. And that's really the process that we're working on. As John said, we believe coaching is a very powerful way forward. We would like to see that, obviously, the same as you guys, spread everywhere. I'm drawn to sort of dysfunctional areas because I feel that if we can help that area, they'll be able to change not only themselves, but their areas. When we work with these groups of parents, they come in with all sorts of issues. They're stressed out of where they've come from. They feel they've got no control over their lives. And so what we do is sit them down, give them a drink, and then we do what I've called an energetic exercise. But it's really just helping them to connect with themselves and to calm down and lose all the stress. So if you don't mind, I'd like to do that now with you guys, so you can experience that. And is everyone up for that?
Yeah.
Brilliant, okay. So I'd like to ask you all to sit down with both feet on the ground and put your backs into the seats and just relax. If you feel comfortable enough to close your eyes, that's great. If not, don't worry. So I'm just going to take you in through a sort of guided visualization. So just take a deep breath in and out. A deep breath in and out. One more deep breath in and out. Now just imagine all the cares and the frustrations and the pressures of the day coming out of your head, through your body, down your legs and out of your feet into Mother Earth to take care of. So that all that's left is that beautiful energy, that beautiful essence of you that is often a small voice that's not really heard. So just imagine that essence and that energy is expanding to fill the whole of your body and then the whole of the room. And if you just set the intention and trust it will happen, then out into fill the whole of the area. And imagine that overspilling, filling the whole of the UK. So the whole of the UK is pulsing with your beautiful energy. That wonderful, creative, joyous, beautiful, loving essence of you. And just set the intention. So the whole of the world is pulsating with your beautiful, joyous, creative, loving energy. And imagine yourself up in the sky looking down on the world. And imagine that your energy overspilling the whole of the universe. The whole of the cosmosis, everywhere that's known and unknown. So all of that beautiful energy of you, that fabulous, joyous, creative you, is pulsing everywhere. Then from that place, imagine asking yourself what it is you would like to do with what you take away from the session today. I'm just going to leave you for a couple of minutes imagining you having that conversation. And when you get an answer, ask another question. So I'll just leave you there for a couple of minutes. And when you're ready, and there's no hurry, I want you to come back into your body and open your eyes and just recall that fabulous conversation. And then choose what action you want to take. With the parents, what we find is that just starts to relax them and they're starting to become more comfortable. And even the ones that come into the room storming about, complaining about their situation, they start to calm down. We even get parents coming in saying, "Don't talk to me." But that's fine because they're there. And by halfway through the session, they start sharing. I'd like to show you a short video now of a young lady. When she first came to the course, the first week, she couldn't finish a sentence without crying. And the challenge with our course is that it does actually start looking at yourself and feeling uncomfortable. So these vulnerable parents, it's often easier not to come again. And if anything like this happens, I usually don't expect to see them again, but she did go all the way through the course. So this is her experiences.
From the age of 5 to 13, I was sexually and physically abused, so it was like living a nightmare. I didn't, actually as a child, thought living on earth was actually hell. When it stopped happening, I sort of turned to drinking at first. Then I went on to drugs, at first smoking weed, and then like people say, oh, you start smoking weed, you go on to harder drugs just to numb the pain and the emotions of my past. But then at the age of 23 I fell pregnant, which I knew that as a mother I had to give it all up. So my life was quite an emotional wreck, and it does affect the baby, and up until she's a toddler, until I started doing this course. Her behaviour, I mean, she never slept, so I had to deal with like sleep deprivation, which was torture, and her behaviour was just so erratic. I thought she had autism, or I thought she had some sort of behavioural problems. I'd done counselling through the Children's Centre. It helped me sort of stop hating myself for what happened. It wasn't my fault, but I still kept looking back instead of looking forward. So what attracted me to the course was because it's about self-development, because at that time I started to realise about it was my behaviour, about I was isolating myself, so I did start volunteering, and that's where I met Alan, and he told me about his course about self-development. So I already knew that I had to sort myself out to make my life more happy and my own daughter more happy. It's funny because like, when you change your life around to make yourself more happy, you realise, I don't know, I was putting her down as ADHD and autism because I thought it was her fault, because there was something wrong with her, but there was something wrong with her because it was me, which was a hard thing to see, because I thought, oh my God, I didn't realise my behaviour could affect my own child that way, really. What attracted me to the course is because I wanted to move out of my past and start living for the future and make myself more happy, so I had a more happier home. And she would have had the best of me, really, because she wasn't really getting the best of me as being a mum, because I was too emotional to show her the best of me, which now she sees. The tools that I used on the course, which I found them all helpful, but I think it's to know your own successes. I mean, the success story is an important part, because you don't even acknowledge your successes, and once they build up, it's quite helpful when you're put in a negative situation. Like I do that touch thing, and I feel all the positivity coming back in, and I can just get up and walk away from people. The power of thought, I find that very helpful, because I used to have thoughts about myself, and I used to think that I was, useless, and it's training yourself to think, no, you're not useless, you can do anything, which I truly believe now. Because the secret thing, that's really changed me, watching that, the law of attraction. That was really helpful. And setting goals, I think everyone needs goals in their lives to help you move forward and build on things that you want to achieve, and that was really helpful. What I did during the course, which helped my life start changing, was started to go on walks, which I started doing things that I was interested in to help me meet new people and start living, which during joining that group, I actually found my new partner. I'm actually getting engaged, so that's all good. And actually started losing weight to do a skydive for Alan's charity, which I definitely wouldn't have done before I'd done the course, because I'm scared of heights.
I don't know if that raises any questions for you, but I wanted to put it into context, the sort of challenges that some of our parents face, really. Has anyone got any questions? Some of those issues are in everybody that we see, because I'm really drawn to the more challenging areas. And I think Gemma's turned her life around completely. Not everybody does that, to be honest. I mean, but everyone that completes the course at least changes themselves, how they see themselves. And as we all know, that spreads throughout the family. And then they become a natural role model and a natural coach, because that's what we help them do, is understand themselves and how their emotional state affects the sensitive children. I think all of the parents virtually that I've worked with have had parenting skills programs, and they're sick to the death of it because it stigmatises them, they feel failures. So what we've had to do is create relationships with the children's centre staff so that when they go around and talk to people, they say, no, it isn't a parenting program, even though it's called Parent Champion, but it's really about personal development. And also I go around a lot to the sort of play schemes and the different nurseries, and so really just to help them realise that, you know, it is possible to actually make these dramatic changes. But I do stress to them all the time that once you've gone through this course, then it doesn't mean to say everything's going to be fantastic, because life kicks in. But what I've helped you do is to practice some different tools and techniques that work for you, so that what will happen is on the down times, all of a sudden you'll realise, well, actually I've got a tool to do that. To put this in context, as I say, my passion was to holistically develop children, so I started working with the children and young people, and I soon found any child with a problem had a parent with a bigger problem. And so I started to focus on the parents. I went to the States to do a parenting course, a parent coaching course, and came back, and then I got a job as a parenting tutor for Medway Adult Ed, and I was there for 6 years. So it was a perfect opportunity for me to try out all these different ideas. I really love this awareness of the intuitive side, and I hadn't realised how impactful it was until recently, really. And I've actually been talking about it more openly, whereas before I just used to sort of slip it in. But now I talk about the energetic connection. And when we talk about levels of listening on the board, when I did coach training, we got up to active listening. And I say that I believe there's another level, and that's energetic listening, oblique connection. Because for me, to help them realise that children understand the mood they're in, before the parent's mood is before they come into the room, and you can sense someone behind you, and you can walk into a room and feel uncomfortable or comfortable, all that loose, sensitive, light stuff actually affects children because they're hypersensitive. The light bulb moment for me was the realisation that if we could help the parents in these areas change the way they see themselves, and we can unlock the potential in young people. And also, it would prove the approach if we could make it work there. But they carried lots of baggage, as you can imagine. And so they come in very sceptical, but I just ask them to be open, take away what they need. They're not recruited as such, they're invited in, because as we all know with coaching, unless you actually want it, it's not going to work. But these parents don't even know what coaching is, unless it's a sports area. So what they do is they come in being prepared to be open. And in that way, they start to realise that they can actually make changes. But they do realise it's about them. And these parents particularly are very challenged. But what we do is create a fantastic energy in the group, even from the first time. And so these parents start to actually talk to each other, because a lot of them live in isolation, they close themselves off because they feel failures and don't want to share. and they start to make support groups for themselves. So this group of parents, as I say, were fed up with parenting skills programs. As I say, I did the 6 years as a parenting tutor, and we set up a charity called Every Family Matters, and that gave us the opportunity to get funding to deliver these programs. And we delivered a variety of programs, and out of all of this came the Parent Champion group, Parent Champion course, which is a mixture of coaching and emotional literacy techniques, and I think it's underpinned by neuroscience. So as I understand neuroscience, it's about the connectedness of all. So I think that's what they start to realise as well. We teach, obviously, self-responsibility, life and pro-social skills overall. And the power of thought is when they realise, what we do is just a little exercise about thought. What does that lead to? Feelings and emotions, then actions and reactions of the other person. That creates the next thought. So they don't always realise that what they're seeing is that cycle. And when they realise that they can change their thought like that, they're changing the whole system. And obviously that's a bit difficult for them to take on, so they get practice at it. Goal setting, pretty basic really stuff. Success breeds success. Now we create a success diary for them. And in the success diary, they state what the success is, what the feelings and emotions are, and what's the potential for the next step. So we're always looking to take them forward. And then they come back, and the second thing we do after that connection exercise is to start to share their key success for that week. And I'm telling you, when you listen to them, it absolutely blows your mind what they do. Just by being different and realising what they can do. And so by the end of the course, they've got 7 of these sheets that they take away, and they can use those to be able to refresh themselves when they have down times. About halfway through, we help them share their coaching skills. So we get them to coach each other through the success diaries. And so they start to get a bit more confident about it. I've done levels of listening. We've just been accredited as an OCN training centre, and this Parent Champion course at the moment is level 2. The one we're going to do in January is level 3, so that's A-level equivalent, and that's actually quite an attractive proposition for some of these parents that, don't really have any qualifications. So what I like to do now is share some experiences of 4 different parents. Gemma's also in there a bit because I couldn't really take her out.
Yeah, I just felt a kind of failure in every aspect, just a general negative outlook on every aspect of my life. From the age of 5 to 13, I was sexually and physically abused.
My dad used to get up the sticks and move every 2 years, so I never really made friends at school.
It was like living a nightmare. I didn't, actually as a child, thought living on earth was actually hell.
I was really, really in despair, and I was getting very fractious. I was flying off the handle.
It does affect the baby, and up until she's a toddler, until I started doing this course. Her behaviour, she never slept.
I missed her quite a few years, so I ended up going to a special school.
She was really, really pushing things at home, and I have to say, I was in despair.
I was always getting into fights and all that, and I got blamed for everything. I ended up walking out when I was 15.
And her behaviour was just so erratic. I thought she had autism, or I thought she had some sort of behavioural problems.
You're now at an age, at 17, where actually I can't stop you from doing anything, in a sense.
I never got on with my old man living on the same roof. Used to get beaten a lot by him, bounced off walls. He had a right drink problem.
It was her fault, because there was something wrong with her, but there was something wrong with her because it was me.
Being on my own with the kids was a bit hard when I first got custody. My children were quite a lot to handle.
Oh my God, I didn't realise my behaviour could affect my own child that way, really.
During the course, I gained a lot of tools to be more resourceful in myself and be at my most strongest, resourceful, sound self.
Change the way I feel about myself. They all say you've got to change the way you feel as a person before you can change up, your life. So learn to love yourself, sort of thing.
The success story is an important part because you don't even acknowledge your successes, and once they build up, it's quite helpful when you're put in a negative situation.
You really sit and you listen with intent, and you really try to connect with the other person.
Realising the potential of the tools that we learn was the energetic connection with my son, and not only with my son but with my friends.
I started doing things that I was interested in to help me meet new people and start living.
Smart goals, mainly to do with you set yourself a goal and you do that goal and you come back the following week with it done.
It kind of gets rid of all the clutter that goes around, so we've all got busy minds thinking of lots and lots of different things. You actually listen to the real points and understand them.
The success diaries is a nice way to open up, share more of your experiences.
See every opportunity and take it and just be happy. I think, and just find the love for life again.
Lots of parents, particularly the mums, because it was many mums that came in this course, felt almost guilty about was not taking time out for themselves.
It's so powerful. I don't know how else to describe it, but it works. It really does work. I think my life's changed dramatically. I feel like a teenager again. I've got a love for life. I'm so ambitious. My confidence is back. I'm enjoying being a mum. I'm enjoying seeing my son be him and grow into a beautiful young person.
We are happier and in a better place. So will our children be.
And actually started losing weight to do a skydive for Alan's charity, which I definitely wouldn't have done before I'd done the course.
I've got more self-esteem. I'm more focused. I'm a better parent, to be honest. I listen to my children more.
I actually found my new partner. I'm actually getting engaged, so that's all good.
But I've become a much more optimistic person and more positive in my outlook. And it's not that I'm making myself be positive, it's I feel more optimistic and more positive.
I now trust my gut instincts. I enjoy life as it is and living in the moment.
Learn to love yourself. I have. Never thought I'd say that, but I have. Learned to love myself and I love my children more.
Mainly, it's just me being me and loving me for who I am and sharing that with everyone else.
They run up and hug me when I'm not expecting it, so that's lovely,
John, the guy on there, when he first came the first session, he was so down that all he could do is just look at the floor. He never made eye contact with anybody. And again, I thought he's never going to come back. But by about the third session, he started to open up a bit and start talking. And that's what he did. And the first lady you saw, Jodie, after the course finished, what she's done is being a sort of an assistant to me for the next group, which is currently running. And she's absolutely blown me away because she's actually co-facilitating with me. And it's so much more powerful because she's done it. She's been there. Everyone relates to her more than the old wrinkly standing up in front of us. So it's really exciting. I think the main thing is that we need to be really aware of children's sensitivities and to take steps to help the parents and themselves to become congruent and help them to explore who they are. Something that was a real surprise to me is how children take responsibility for the parent's emotional state. And I've been trying to get some research on that And all I've found is that professionals will know this, but I haven't found any written documentation, because for me, this is the critical part. When parents realise how just by changing the way they see themselves, it changes the whole family dynamic. So really, when we can get children to trust their intuition and their instincts, they become more self-aware and more confident. And at the end of the day, that's our role, isn't it? All of us in the room to support that. We work with groups of parents up to 12, and as I say, the group creates an energy that helps them sustain each other. We've created a community website to add sustainability, because as you know, after any training you come away with a high, and with these particular parents we want to help them sustain themselves. So they develop a sustainability plan on the last session and share what's been most powerful for them. And then we've got a community site at the moment, but it's not as effective as it might be, because we're using Facebook and not many parents want to share their situation on Facebook. So what we're doing is upgrading that, and in the new year we'll be launching a private community with groups. I don't know if anyone's heard of Buddy Press. That's all I know about the name. I don't know any more than that at the moment. And what we're going to do is create online courses so that other people can be involved. But it is that sustainability and supporting each other that is really important. What we've done also is developed our online monitoring system, so that parents we feed the data back. Every parent does a session review at the end of each session. They do a congruency questionnaire at the beginning, and then we measure the distance travelled at the end. We've got all this data that captures the coaches and the parents' progress, successes and challenges. And we've also got an ISO 9001 quality management system, which as some of you may know, that actually keeps everything together, and local authorities want something like that. So overall, we've just 3/4 of the way through a big lottery grant, and these are some of the outcomes. When you consider that those parents thought they were going to be on benefits for the rest of their lives, and all they were going to do is be mums and didn't have a life, and they've lost their identity. So to go to get 31% of them interested in going into education, employment or training, to me it's fantastic. We have a training pathway. As I say, Jodie is typical of the training pathway, so that she just needs to get a bit more experience, and then she can be a co-facilitator or even a facilitator delivering this program without any support, without any coach training, because she's coming from herself. We've now got evidence from Canterbury Christchurch University to show the effectiveness, and with the changes in government, local authority, health, police commissioning, we feel the marketing is opening up for us. I'd like to introduce George. She will tell you who she is, but for me it's a fantastically exciting development, because now we've got something that works in the families. The next step is to take it into the schools.